Is the Florida housing market stabilizing or crashing? The Federal Reserve just raised interest rates by 0.5%. So how will this affect the housing market? Stay tuned and let's discuss. Well, what's up guys? My name's Matt Light and I'm a realtor here in Sarasota, Florida, making videos on relocating to Sarasota and all things Sarasota real estate. Today's video is going to go over how these interest rate increases will affect the housing market. The first thing to know is that the Federal Reserve does not raise mortgage rates directly. Lenders will raise them as the Fed raises theirs, but it's not the Fed determining what you're going to pay. I want to read through part of an article that addresses how rate hikes will affect consumers. Richard Barrington, a financial analyst and writer, said inflation has already affected some loan rates independent of the Fed's actions as lenders demand higher payments. Barrington pointed out that the 30-year mortgage rate rose by about 2% since the start of 2022. While the Fed raised their rates by just 25 basis points or 0.25% back in March. The article continued to say that's because the Fed's really behind the curve when it comes to addressing the recent surge of inflation. Barrington said, "You've already seen mortgage lenders, for example, take more decisive action. Lenders don't necessarily have to wait for the Fed to raise rates," he added. "They can't afford to get that far behind inflation because that means the money they get back from a loan is worth less than what it was when they lent it out." So if the Fed rose rates 0.25% in January and that impacted mortgage lenders by increasing rates 2%, obviously the Federal Reserve raising rates by 0.5% is going to cause lenders to increase their rates drastically again. Now, here's a quick clip from Yahoo Finance of Fed Chair Jerome Powell making the announcement.
75 basis point in an increase is not something the committee is actively considering. What we are doing is we raised 50 basis points today, and we've said that, again, assuming that economic and financial conditions evolve in ways that are consistent with our expectations, there's a broad sense on the committee that additional 50 basis point increases should be on the table for the next couple of meetings. So we're going to make those decisions at the meetings, of course, and we'll be paying close attention to the incoming data and the evolving outlook, as well as to financial conditions. And finally, of course, we will be communicating to the public about what our expectations will be as they evolve. So the test is really just, as I laid it out, economic and financial conditions evolving broadly in line with expectations.
The biggest takeaway I took from this clip is that raising rates by 0.5% increments are going to be on the table at every meeting for the near future. So will the market stabilize or crash? In a nutshell, I believe your cash-heavy markets like Sarasota, Naples, West Palm Beach, markets where a majority of transactions are purchased with cash, not finance, these markets, they're going to begin to stabilize. Your markets that most buyers require a large amount of financing will come down in price because the affordability is no longer there to justify such a large purchase price. For example, take a look at this graph that I got from a friend. In January, rates on a 30-year fixed were 3.22%. This specific buyer, in the graph had a purchase power of $807,000. Well, 2 months later, rates were raised to 5.11%, and the same buyer only had a purchase power of $643,000. This is a $164,000 decrease in buying power, simply because of how high the interest rates jumped. So yes, this will obviously stabilize and decline certain markets where buyers are reliant on obtaining financing. So should you buy or hold? I think it depends on your financial situation. If you can no longer afford to buy, well then obviously you shouldn't be looking to get a max out of a mortgage as you possibly can. If you're cash, I think in the long run, Florida real estate is a great investment and thousands of people are continuing every day to try to add Florida real estate to their portfolio. If you found some value in today's video, would you considering liking this video and subscribing to my channel? Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.